Hello and welcome back to We'll Get It Right Next Year, an adventure in cinema, we're still doing some avant-garde stuff before starting season 2. Normally the show is about two friends that spend an entire year speculating about the plot of a movie, but right now we're taken to strange new places. I'm one of the friends, Michael M. Rader.
And I'm Ryan Lynch, and I have to say avant-garde, more like avant-bard, am I right?
I don't get it.
Because we're here with some very special guests.
We are?
I think so.
Bards? Is this The Bard's Tale 2?
Yes.
Bards?
This is the Bard's sequel. Oh,
whoa.
Who's
I
that?
think we just got a spell of guest introduction played for us. So I guess we'll start with Hayden. Hayden, how you doing?
Oh, I was doing fine, but then we all got together in the same chat, and I feel my mental state deteriorating rapidly.
All right, we ruined your night already. Excellent.
Hey, it's me, Ivan.
Oh, wow.
I'm also here. I just lowered down from the ceiling.
A wild Ivan appears.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, we're in a real Spider-Man turn off the dark situation.
Yeah, I want to do an upside down kiss with Ivan.
I hope nobody dies, like in Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. That's a thing.
I hope,
right?
I hope none of the actors playing us die.
Is there anybody else hiding in the shadows?
Well, oh, by the way, Ivan is also from the They See Me Rolling podcast. I see a pattern. Do you think it will continue for our third guest?
Who knows?
Slam! Oh, hey, look who just walked in.
Who's bursting through the door like the Kool-Aid Man?
Also from the They See Me Rolling podcast, the Kool-Aid Man.
Oh,
The Kool-Aid Man from the podcast They See Me Rolling.
The Kool-Aid Man usually provides libations for the recording, but is actually going to be playing with us today.
Mm-hmm.
Libations?
It's Stan, if you didn't know.
Yeah, well, the Kool-Aid Man spikes itself.
The Kool-Aid
So
stand.
it becomes libation.
The Kool-Aid stand, exactly.
It's the
Does
Kool-Aid
that just mean
stand,
he's
yeah.
drunk for... Wait a minute. If the Kool-Aid Man spikes himself forever, is that the equivalent of, like, alcohol poisoning for him?
He can only do it once.
He's definitely drunk all the time, the Kool-Aid Man. Like, look at him.
Now I'm imagining a rewrite of Under the Volcano, but starring the Kool-Aid Man.
The Kool-Aid Man can barely
And it's,
stay
it's
standing
significantly better.
And introducing the man who usually wrangles these two, Stan Ferguson, the DM of They See Me Rolling.
You're hosting now. You can deal with them.
I would like to say, the TSMR crew usually has a fourth member, Jody, who unfortunately is not with us, but in his
Because he died?
unfortunately,
He's
yes,
no longer with us.
Yep, but I didn't think it would be right to do this crossover without just something to remember him by. So, standing in for Jody tonight will be this can of Foster's.
Oh, wow. Hayden actually has a can of Foster's that they're holding up.
That sounds delicious.
Wait.
Yep, I'm sure all
Gotta
Australians would agree
get a good
with
pop
that.
in there.
I can't get the top off.
I don't speak Australian, so I don't know what Foster's means.
It's like alcoholic
There we go.
Vegemite.
There we go.
So while
There
we
we go.
have all these They See Me Rolling hosts, what should we do with them, Michael?
This host of
Kick
They
them
See Me
out.
Rolling hosts.
Kick them out and then guess about a movie.
Shoo them out the door.
Get some better
Well,
guests.
I just spilled this Foster's all over myself. That's nice.
Use a coaster.
I'm using a can of Planters peanuts as a coaster.
Maybe while we have them here, we should do some sort of I don't know, role playing.
Interesting.
I like where this is going.
Some sort of crossover, if you will. So
Asterisk, cat face, asterisk.
Dancing woman emoji.
I was thinking maybe we could combine our distinct styles of our podcast. You know, us, a freewheeling movie podcast, and them, a highly structured, very straightforward actual play podcast.
Our podcast runs like a Chekhov play. There's not a second wasted.
I'm still waiting for that gun to pay off.
I have an idea that Michael and I
Okay.
discussed, and then I have an idea that Michael and I did not discuss.
Okay, lay it on us, Ryan.
So first, what I think we should do is, much like last episode, I think we should go back to random.org for us to pick a movie for us to build a world around and let you three play in it. How does that sound?
I am into
interesting.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's going to
Now-
be our
Yes.
world. You're
Yes.
only visiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the second idea that I have
Mhm.
is that I am holding in my hand the copy of the 5th edition book, Horde of the Dragon Queen, that I might use as kind of a backdrop for us to then make about a movie.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
I like this twist.
So should we just
Ah.
use random.org to randomly generate a number between 1 and 2 to decide for us?
It seems
I
overly
figured
complicated.
figured we would do both. We're
We're just
pick
going
the-
to throw it all in the pot and make a tasty jambalaya.
Will we use the movie's plot inside the
Yes.
back-
What
Backdrop
we
of the
think
book?
the movie's plot is.
Yes.
Okay.
nice? So we get to pick from the
Yes.
movie
Now,
characters.
if I was smart, I would have read any of this book ahead of time. But I didn't.
Interesting.
I hope to God we land on something like 120 Days of Sodom or like Antichrist.
That was never recommended for us as one of the movies, fortunately.
Damn it, I missed my opportunity.
So generate us a movie then, Ryan.
Okay, so I have rolled.
Generate us a movie, or the movie generator man. Generate us
I
a
have
movie
gotten-
tonight.
From 1 to 26, I have gotten 9. Which, if I consult
9.
my crystal ball Google Doc, number
Is
9
that
is
the-
actually... What?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the movie 9, where Daniel
No.
Day-Lewis isn't a.
Oh, he
I rolled a 9.
rolled a 9.
And there are no modifiers on this. And the movie that it told us to do is actually one Hayden suggested themselves on our very podcast.
Whoa.
So, Michael, are you ready to go on an adventure into the Judas Project?
The Judas Project.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Just
Ah, yes!
don't say I'm damned for
I call
all
Pete.
time.
Two
I-
of the
Danny,
people on this podcast have seen that movie, which will make an interesting twist on this, but they can't tell us what they know.
I assume that the Judas Project is the same as Jesus Christ Superstar.
Nope.
I'm calling it right now. I get to play Judas.
You mean Jude?
I will.
Hey,
Okay,
Jude.
whatever.
So now I have read the first paragraph of the approach of this plot. Not the
Okay.
Judas Project, but the Horde of the Dragon Queen.
Okay.
So, I am going to paint this picture, and I'm sure going to be exactly like the film, The Judas
Oh,
Project.
and by the way, we didn't mention this, but Ryan and I are co-DMing
Oh, yeah.
this one. So,
So how I figured this would probably work best is
This is
I
a
will
disaster.
I will act as prompts for Michael to experiment with. So, first, let's just meet our characters. Or should we do the
Yes.
plot prompt first?
let's do plot
Give
prompt,
us the-
and that will give them a little time to come up with their characters while
Okay.
you're doing that.
So, whatever our party looks like, the characters are approaching a city. What's the city's name,
Mhm.
Michael?
Oh, the city is
Jerusalem?
obviously Jerusalem.
Okay, so the characters
Actually,
Where the Judas Project.
Neo Jerusalem.
Yeah,
Neo Jerusalem.
It's like a cyberpunk Jerusalem.
Cyberpunk Jerusalem.
yeah, cyberpunk Jerusalem.
Well, it was set in the United States, but okay.
Neo Jerusalem is in America.
There are places in the United States called Jerusalem.
That's
There's like a
true.
bajillion towns named Bethlehem.
So
Yeah,
that's
we
true.
have we're in Neo Jerusalem, where there is a giant blue statue of Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and there are In this
So
city,
it's like that holographic naked lady from Blade Runner 2099 or whatever.
Yes.
2019.
Yes, it's walking around seductively.
Hey, to Ryan.
And allies
like,
of the
let me
cult
save your
of
soul.
allies of the cult of Jesus are attacking the town, where they hope to collect masks. And if they collect enough masks, it will resurrect Jesus Christ himself.
So we obviously we want to help them. Since
Yeah. I think the cult of Jesus is called Christianity.
I'm taking this as
Traditionally.
taking place after the Judas Project.
Now,
So Judas is seeking redemption. Okay, no, I won't decide Judas's character for them. So that's
respect my process, Michael.
I will respect your process, Hayden.
Now, in this city, right outside the city, as the party approaches, there is a man. What is his name, Michael?
Oh, that man's name is Bartholomew.
Okay, so Bartholomew is
Mhm.
convinced that the cult is engaged in a large operation, but he doesn't know what it is yet. And he is using this raid as an opportunity to infiltrate the cult so he could find out exactly how close they are to resurrecting Jesus. And I misread the sentence. Apparently he's already been captured.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What a twist.
Bartholomew has been
So,
captured by
you
the
knew
Christians.
Bartholomew. He went ahead. He's been captured by the cult and discovered.
Much like John the Baptist, he was
Yes.
he was sent ahead of us.
He came before, yes.
Now, before he left, you guys had instructions to, if he does get captured, to come save him. You do not have to listen. But that is our setting. Let's meet some characters.
Okay, so I'm going to let Hayden go first because they clearly know what they're going to do. So, Hayden, lay it on us.
Okay, well, after the whole thing with Jesse, as he's known
How
in
did
this
that
timeline.
happen?
Well, look, I might have made some advances on the Son of our Lord. All right.
Okay.
And he just wasn't
Intriguing.
down for it, right? Okay. And I felt
Prude.
very scorned by that, all right? And so when
Fair
these when these cats roll up saying, "Hey, here's there's all this silver." I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, fuck him. I'm going to focus on me now. I've spent like the past 12 or so years trying to
Self-care
support
So the
is
people who
somebody."
rolled up were the Pharisees, but they have a Z at the end.
The Pharisees
It's-
builders.
And
Days off.
they're all played by Farrah Fawcett.
R.I.P.
Yep. So I felt actually after he died, I felt really bad about it. So I tried to hang myself from a tree in a field I
Mhm.
bought with the money, right? But God then decided to curse me, and I couldn't die. And I found that
I thought he just drove
come-
away.
No, this is my
Spoilers.
I tried to hang myself, right? But then God cursed me, and I found myself unable to die. And the touch of silver was abhorrent to me, and I found myself burned by the sun whenever I'd go in the daylight. And
Oh, you got one of the marks of Cain's.
yeah, and I had this
Karl
suddenly,
Marx.
deep within me grew this hunger for human blood,
Oh.
Fantastic.
and I decided to
shit.
take a new name, Dracula.
Very nice. So, cyber vampire, formerly Judas.
So in
So
my
you
mind,
combined the plot of the Judas
Dracula
Project
2000
to this
and
fantasy
Dracula
book
2000.
to Dracula 2000.
Played by Gerard Butler.
in my mind, if you were about to hang yourself and God cursed you to be unable to, I imagined that he made you very tall.
I'm into this. So I think I tried it. I think I tried it several times from like several different like higher branches, right? And progressively I just got taller and taller.
But
So,
you
I
eventually tried it from like a building, and it's still.
Yes, so I'm a giant.
Perfect.
All right.
But a very, very thin giant.
Yeah,
like,
like you're just stretched out.
Yeah, it's like in Willy Wonka whenever they put that kid in the taffy puller and he comes out all stretched out.
Or like
exactly like
Gonzo in Muppet Treasure Island.
Also exactly like that.
So, okay, who else do we have in our ragtag group?
All right.
I'm gonna play the other Judas, not Iscariot, aka Jude Thaddeus. I don't know what he did. He didn't seem to do much.
What the fuck are you talking about? He helped Jesus out on his journey up to Golgotha Skull Hill. He helped him carry the cross, Ivan.
I've never heard of any
in the
of this
movie, though.
It sounds like Apocrypha to me.
It's not apocryphal. Like, if I said, like, Jesus, like, resurrected someone after he struck them down dead when he was 5, that's Apocrypha, but...
Hey, I'm pretty sure this is Ivan's character.
Michael's making a face
whatever
like...
biblical canon that Ivan wants.
Michael's making a face like, oh, don't try and challenge me on Bible trivia.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, real quick, I got something wrong. It's Simon of Cyrene is the guy that helped Jesus carry the cross.
Yeah,
Simon
told
Cowell,
you.
yes.
The other Judas. The other Judas was the guy that paid for Jesus' tomb.
Oh, so I'm sort of like a cool like tomb guy.
Yeah,
You're a tomb
a tomb magnate.
So my character is a like grave and tomb dealer.
Cool.
So
like a slick used grave salesman or
used grave dealer.
Listen. What will it take for me to get you in this tomb today?
Well, I hear the business is booming because people are dying for what you got.
Yeah, maybe some sort of big funeral. Sort of.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
my business really went up lately when millions of people were killed by some jaguars.
Well, the roaming bands of post-apocalyptic raiders that roam the outskirts of Neo Jerusalem really do a lot to boom up business for you.
Yeah. So So I'm Jude Thaddeus. Or Jude Labius? No, Labius?
Okay.
Jude Labia.
I'm looking at his, weird. Some people call him Jude Labius.
You could look
whatever.
on IMDb and just look at the
I'm looking at his at Jude the Apostle's IMDb page. Man, he did not get a lot of work after Jesus.
Yeah, he did some Law and Order episodes.
So what about you, Stan?
I am the one-armed lumberjack Pete, who
I assume Pete from like the Goofy canon.
He is famous for having denied knowing Jesse after he got arrested, and then after seeing Jesse's funeral procession, which was, for whatever reason, held by the state.
It was a state. I forgot it was a state funeral. There was a fucking American flag over his casket.
Yeah, it was a state funeral held for a prisoner. So during that funeral, I wigged out and I ran straight for the casket in my one-armed flannel shirt, and as I did. A cop with a terribly large pit stain beat me with a nightstick, and I swore then and there that would never happen again. So I built myself a robot arm, which is extremely powerful and can crush boulders.
So do you have a Star of David over it instead of on the shoulder instead of the red Soviet star?
Now, Stan, when that cop was beating up on you, was Tom Joad there watching?
Sure.
That one just felt like it. Okay, all right. That was a Grapes of Wrath reference. Wherever there's a cop beating up on a guy, I'll be there. Anyway, all right. Moving on.
I'm more of an Easton of Eden NB, Michael.
So the three of you approach the town, and you see a bright light over the town, even though it is evening. What
And
do you
it's an
do?
advertisement.
Yeah.
For Atari.
So what do you three do? You see the bright light over the town. You do see on the outskirts of town buildings that are ablaze, and you see a stream that flows past the town on the right side. What do you do?
It's a digital stream made of
I
ones
look
and
at
zeros.
Jude and I get very upset and say, I should kick your ass.
Wait, which Jude?
Oh shit, both of them are Jude.
No,
There's
it's
two
fine.
Judes.
No, it's fine. Because as you say that, I look at you and say, the man that you once knew, he's dead. I am Dracula now.
What's with the stupid accent?
This is how I have always talked.
No, it clearly is not.
Listen, I was cursed by God himself. It does strange things to you.
Ah, that's the least he could do. He cursed you by giving you super strength and making you drink blood. That's great.
Let's not forget, I'm also irresistible sexually to both sexes.
And very
What a
calm.
curse!
Pretty good in
What a
this whole
terrible, horrible curse.
I suffer every day for it, dear Peter. Every day.
It's really more of a curse to me because it's one more grave I can't sell.
What are you talking about? He has to rent it every night. And every day.
That's a good point. If I could get like all the vampire business, I could like rent out graves to them.
It'd be like a hotel.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. That's going to be my new goal, to create more
Listen.
vampires.
Listen, Jude. You and I, we can do business together. I drum up the vampires for you. You provide them with a place to stay. I think we can make very good buck on this.
So is that the motivation for wanting to resurrect Jesus? To learn
I'm
how to
gonna resurrect Jesus and turn him into a vampire, so he'll have to stay in one of Jude's tombs.
Look, I'm
That's
down
an
with
interesting
resurrecting
twist.
my pal, Jesus, or Jesse, but I am not okay with you turning him into a vampire. So when we get to that point, I'm gonna kick your ass.
But if he's a vampire, he can spread his gospel for all of eternity.
Only at
Peter,
night.
That's a good point.
But
That's a big drawback.
Peter, as he was saying, but Peter, much as Jesse said, Jesse said himself that the spirit comes like a thief in the night. So I think you're just fulfilling scripture.
Oh, so you're saying like it's fine that he only works at night?
He predicted
That
this
makes
himself.
sense to me.
While you're talking, a cultist who's out for an evening stroll walks up to your group and asks you, "Hey, have you heard the good news of the resurrection of Jesus?"
Yeah, I heard about that.
Is Jesse back? Is that the good news?
Well, not yet, but just between you and I, we have big plans. Are you in our group? You one of us?
You could say I'm a close personal friend.
We'll help you with your dark ritual to revive Jesus.
I
Sure.
suppose you know the secret handshake.
Sure. I reach out my robot arm.
As you guys are handshaking, 5 more cultists come up behind him.
Oh, I'm not shaking his hand. I'm crushing it in my robot arm.
Ah!
This might be an awkward time to point out that I'm Jewish, so I don't know where I stand on this, actually.
So the 5 cultists say, "Aha! We don't have a secret handshake. Gotcha."
You do now, motherfuckers. my robot hand. In this world, everybody has one robot hand that has a special power, and my robot hand turns into a gun.
Oh, well, if we're
Why don't
going
you
that...
just have a gun?
That's
Okay.
part of this universe. That is correct. We didn't set that this is very high concept cyberpunk universe.
Ivan, roll an intimidation check.
If we're
okay.
going this way, then I have to say I have like some just like weird like metal junk hanging out of the side of my head. You have no idea what it does. I'm not really sure either, but it's there.
It's
But there's some
actually
light stuff and
it's
blinking,
actually
yeah.
not a gun. It just looks like a gun. What it really is a shovel.
Wait a minute.
That
It's a
looks
shovel
like
that
a
looks
gun.
like a gun.
Let me see
Well,
if I
it's-
got this right.
It's like
You-
one of
you-
those big hammers that people dig holes with. Like it drops down a big hammer. That's how I dig
Oh, okay.
holes for graves.
So roll an intimidation check. Let's see if you can scare these
14.
people. What'd you get? Okay.
14.
3 of the 5 cultists say, "Hey, we don't want any trouble. Are you guys here to resurrect Jesus?"
Wait a minute, no, cultists, hold on a second. I have to ask my associate something. So, Jude, whenever you went into the prostheticist's office and said, "Hey, I need a robot hand, but listen, I want a robot hand that turns into a shovel, but I want that shovel to look exactly like a gun, but still function the same as a shovel."
It cost me a lot, but
It costs you an arm and a leg, you might say.
it-
And I tap your metal leg that you also have.
my robot leg just looks like a regular old shovel. I couldn't afford the gun model for that one.
So all of these cultists have robot arms too.
Yes. But
Yeah, one of them has just a plain old sword arm, which is kind of I guess like the default one that a goon might have.
beep, beep.
But then another one has a morning star, not a flail, but a morning star. Important distinction. And then another one actually has what looks like a ham sandwich, but it's good for clubbing. You can club
That's
some.
some
I mean,
beefy ham.
And it's good for going out to the club. when
Are
you
they
get hungry.
brandishing these weapons, or are they just
they have
passively
them.
carrying them?
They're passively carrying them right now.
Okay. Well, now that everyone has my superpower, I'm gonna have to add a new weapon. So I now have a laser sword.
I
So,
grimace.
You can't
I
just
grimace
make
at
things
the-
up.
I grimace at the guy holding us ham sandwich. And I'm just like, and I tell him, "Listen, you will not make me break kosher. I may be a vampire, but I'm still observant."
So they say, what
Wait,
do you-
I didn't say what the other two were. There's two more cultists.
Oh.
So
they
the
have
other one has
metal
another
hands.
sword.
The one's just a metal hand.
Yeah, and the other one's just another sword, but it's
Yeah.
like a katana.
So, and the one that you crushed had a beautiful Fabergé egg for a hand that is now in shards.
You idiot! We could have sold that.
So the two that aren't scared are just kind of standing there like they're kind of indifferent, but the 3 are like, "What do you guys want?"
I step forward, and I open up my very, very like loose silk shirt blouse that I'm wearing, and I want to try and use my vampire wiles to seduce all of them.
Okay, you're gonna have to make
We
a
are-
seduction roll.
We are just some lowly travelers looking for some companions to spend a cold evening with.
So now
We're
these
looking for our
cultists,
friend. What the hell?
Listen. Are chaste, so you will have disadvantage on this roll.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
rolling
okay.
horny levels for the cultists right now.
Can I assist to try and impart an advantage?
How will you
19.
do that?
How's a 19? How's a 19 feel?
That actually I rolled a 17 and an 18 for their horny levels, which actually means they're not very horny. It's kind
man.
of like golf.
I see.
But you still
but
beat it.
19 beats that DC check, so they
It did.
all-
It did.
Despite their chasteness, they still go for it.
I'm dead and delicious, baby.
Dead and loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
So they are now randy cultists. So they say, the ones that asked, "What do you want?" now say, "What can we do for you?"
You can do so many things for me, sweet creature.
You can tell us where to find our friend Jesse.
And their horny levels just went back down.
Except one of them spiked.
Ooh. I'm imagining like Jesse is like so he has a thing for bears, right? So he's real into Jesse, I think.
So
Okay.
It's canon now. Print it.
Okay.
So they.
I have to take your word on it. You've seen the movie. I haven't.
Oh, no, just Pete in the film is like a choice bear. Like,
Yeah,
So,
he's a
Michael-
one-armed lumberjack.
Yes,
what
Ryan?
more can you ask for?
Which one
Well,
of these
everybody in this
is-
universe is a one-armed person, so I
Yeah.
guess he just had a axe for an arm.
So which one of these cultists is the one that tells them where to go? The really horny one, or the ones that are recently unhorny?
The recently unhornied ones, because they just want to go and take a nap.
One of them likes
When your
a
horny
cigarette.
levels change that rapidly, you just want to take a nap.
Okay, so one of
So
them.
they're so drained.
So,
It's like being a teenager all over again.
Yeah.
so one of the sword ones says, "Hey, we're trying to get Jesse back too."
That's what I'm very confused about. Like, why are we in opposition here?
We're not. You just crushed his hand for no reason.
Listen, I did not crush his hand. My associate here crushed his hand. Really?
I had good reason.
No, you did not.
Yes, it gave me a chuckle. That's all the reason I need.
Listen. I take Pete's side. Like, listen, Pete. I appreciate your devotion and your passion, but this is like the garden thing all over again. Those guys just rolled up and you chopped off one of their ears with your sword. Like, you can't just go full aggro at the start of every interaction.
Look, I'm never gonna let a sweaty man with a nightstick hurt me again.
Listen. I understand. I recognize your pain. I do. But listen, you have to not forget, not forgive, but you need to accept what has happened and move on. The world is a place. Well, actually, this world is pretty terrible, but there are some nice things in it. I think your pain is keeping you from embracing those few moments of true happiness.
That's good advice. That's good advice, Judula. And by the way, let me give you some good advice. Why don't you take that one horny cultist, have a great night, and the rest of us will go find Jesse.
Jujula is not a good name.
That is a good idea. Actually, yeah, that's not good because it also sounds like you're just calling me a Jew.
Yeah.
I loved that exploitation film from the 70s, Jujula. people know the blaxploitation movement, but the Jewsploitation movement, I mean, was actually really good too.
Okay, you guys.
Frankenstein, the name stayed the same though.
You all seem
I
like
don't know
you
how
have-
I feel about this.
So one of the cultists says, "You all seem like you have a lot of issues to work out, but I just want to get out in front of the inevitable disappointment. Jesse is still dead. We do not have him."
Yeah, and Dracula's the reason he's dead, so I wouldn't trust him, to save Jesse with my life or something.
I sidle up to the one remaining horny one. It's like, so, what do you like to do in your downtime when you're not being a cultist?
Oh, I really like to play cribbage.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so hard to meet people that are also cribmeisters. Such
Oh
as
yeah,
myself.
yeah. I'm actually a competitive cribbemeister.
Really? I've been playing for years. My grandfather taught me, but I never had the confidence to go pro.
Yeah. I'll show you the ropes sometime.
That sounds
You
like
can-
a nice evening.
Show me some ropes too. Your
Uh,
rope.
I have
The
so
one
many
rope.
I
You
have
know the
so
rope
many
I mean.
ropes.
What are your thoughts on the ethics of cribbage journalism?
I mean,
It's all about ethics and crib journalism.
I think there's too many women.
I just rip this guy's throat out as soon as he says that.
Yeah, that was the hope.
I think Ryan's cultist has something to say.
So Michael
So this is just
first
happening
looks-
in the background.
is taken aback by this, but says, "Thank God." because that guy was really, really horny. Like, unbelievably so. We couldn't get anything done.
I love that the horniness was what you had a problem with and not the rampant misogyny.
Listen. We all have our own litmus tests, okay?
We all have our personal issues that are important to us.
Yeah. Some of us are just trying to resurrect Jesus. And we're trying to do it without getting our butts pinched all the time, okay?
You feel real objectified, do you?
So, I'm trying to dump some exposition, and you're making it very difficult for me.
Let's hear this exposition. I need to know about my friend Jesse.
So, okay, we're all on the same page. Except for the horny guy, but he's dead now, so that's fine. We are trying to resurrect Jesse, and to do that, we gotta collect some masks for some reason. It's a thing that happens. And we know that this town has one of the masks in it. And it's held by the governor, whose name is...
Tarkin.
Tarkin.
Shouldn't his name be like
Jose Saramago.
King... What's his name?
Nebuchadnezzar.
So,
Sure.
yes.
What's his name?
Nebuchadnezzar was in Bethlehem, you dunce.
It's Nebi.
Herod. I think
no,
you were
I'm not
thinking
gonna
of Herod.
Neba
Wait.
Q Nezer.
Yeah, so Governor King Nezer.
Q Nezer.
No, it's King Nebi Q
Pomp.
Nezer.
No.
It's
Pomp
Q...
Pilate.
Yeah,
name's-
Pontius
Yeah.
Pilate. And
Pontius Pilate.
he's like an actual pilot.
He,
And he
he's
flies-
iPilot.
he-
That's what he
He's
goes
like-
by.
no,
He's
he's
iPilot.
He's like the head of like future Pan Am in this world, right? He owns all the airlines.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Neo Jerusalem is like an airline hub,
Yeah, it's
oh, it's like
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
and it's run by Pontius Pilate.
Pontius iPilot, lowercase
So,
I.
yes, so Governor Pilate knows where the mask is, and we're trying to find him and have him tell us so we can get it.
Have you gone to his house? The governor's mansion.
Yeah, they're like VR helmets.
Yeah. So you have to get the VR masks to jack into the Matrix, so
We have
you
to
can
go into the
reconstitute Jesse's. Yeah, go to the Oasis, reconstitute Jesse's parts, so you can resurrect Jesse in the real world.
So it's
Listen,
kind of
I
like
don't.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
to brag, but I do have one hell of a rig back to my apartment that we could use for this. I'd like to show you my rig sometime if you're down.
The horny one's dead.
The horny
There's
one.
nothing you can do.
There's
I just
nothing for
wipe-
you here.
I just
So,
wiped the blood
yes.
away from my mouth.
We looked at the governor's mansion. He's not there. Do you want to help us raid this town to find this governor or the mask?
Is he not at, like, Kroger?
None of you have ever been to this town before. You don't know things in this town.
Well, I mean, every town's got a grocery store.
I think in this town it's called Fry's.
Yeah.
Fries. Let's go to Fries.
We've already burned down the sheets and we've burned down the Wawa.
Is there like a Five Guys or a Jack in the Box while we're talking about very regionally specific restaurants?
It's a Hardee's here.
Yeah, we've already hit the Rallies and the Roy Rogers.
One member of our party cannot consume human food. I would just like to remind you of that.
At the very least, we can go and get a cherry limeade at Sonic.
So another
disgusting.
cultist decides to come up and go, I don't know why you guys are listing every store in this town. I have a map. And he pulled out a map.
Where were you like 20 minutes ago?
Listen, we all have our own litmus tests on when enough is enough.
That does not excuse the fact that you were 30 to this ambush.
Not to mention, why would you not tell your friends about this and then find 3 strangers to help you out when you have them? And how does this map tell you where he is?
No,
mean,
the
like,
map tells us the town. You guys are asking if there's specific stores in the town. Just look at this map. So you look at the map, and there is a keep, there is a prison, there is a...
Oh, there's a Barnes and Noble right there. There's still one open. Let's swing by there.
And there's a mill, and there's the sanctuary. All the other stores
There's a
are
mill
burned down.
in this. There's a mill in this cyberpunk
All
town.
all of these are like the cyberpunk equivalent.
It's a robo-arm mill. It's a mill that makes
Michael-
robot arms.
It's
Oh, okay.
the mill is
The mill-
actually a Bitcoin mining facility.
The mill represents innocence, Michael. Keep up.
Oh, all right, and it's on the floss, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, where do you 3 want to go first?
I want to check out this. I want to check out this Barnes and Nobles. I think Criterion is having a sale, and we could pick up some Blu-rays.
I think it's the sanctuary.
I don't think you were looking at the map well enough. It's actually a
Yeah.
Borders. This is a very weird.
How the hell did the Borders survive?
It's
the
right next to the
post-apocalypse?
Blockbuster video.
Yes.
Wait, how
it's
did that
actually
come
a
back?
Hollywood video.
What the
Is
fuck?
there an Empire Records around?
It's a Sam Goody.
So, sanctuary sounds like a good place.
Sure.
Like, if I were a governor and I wasn't hanging out in the sanctuary of my mansion, I'd probably go to another sanctuary. And what better than the sanctuary that's literally called the Sanctuary?
I don't
It's
know.
actually
I
an
think
S&M nightclub.
Did you?
That makes-
S&M,
Yeah, that makes even
Let's
more
go
sense
to
for
the
a governor.
sanctuary.
Okay.
Let's go there.
I'm
So
already
as
heading
you
that
3
way.
walk through the town. So as you 3 walk through the town of Neo Jerusalem, you pass all the other things we talked about, but before you get to the sanctuary, right before it is the mill, and it is on fire. And you see people
sucks for
burning
them.
it.
All those
Do you do
Bitcoins are being
Sucks.
lost.
You hear a
What
million
can I s-
bitcoins screaming.
What can I say? It sucks to suck. Let's keep going.
Okay.
I'm gonna run in and see if I can save anybody from the burning.
Save
'cause
some
I'm-
hard drives.
or at least save their bodies so I can bury them.
You can't charge them after they die.
Of
Okay.
course you bury them after they die.
You can't charge them after they die. Is what I'm saying. Like,
Okay, I want you to do a
They work-
constitution check if you're running into the burning building.
So wait, no, hold on. As you approach,
Oh.
Ivan, can you roll a wisdom or charisma check? Either insight or performance.
I'm gonna roll 16, and I'm gonna make that a performance check.
Okay. So you realize that the people that the goons burning the mill, it's actually a ruse. They're only doing it to threaten the villagers because they said they're going to burn all of their Bitcoin supplies so they won't have enough Bitcoins to last the month.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like we have gotten very deep in the weeds with this subplot.
I bet you feel like a dumbass, Jude.
What are
The mill itself is not actually in danger. But you do hear a commotion inside. Do you do anything? Or do you just leave?
If
I didn't stop. I'm still going to the dungeon.
if there's
The
no
sanctuary.
danger directly, like there's not much I can do here. I'm just a random person. What am I gonna do?
I take my robot arm, and out of my fingers, 4 spikes pop out, one on each finger. And then I take some marshmallows, and I put them on the spikes and roast them.
Is there a window I can look in? See what's going on in there?
Yes, there is.
Uh-huh. What do I see?
When you look in, you see a man in a suit. He looks just like the Colonel from KFC.
Reba
Let
McEntire.
him burn.
Yes, Reba McEntire. And you see this man interrogating a purple-robed medium figure tied up on the floor.
Okay. Can I just run in and grab the guy and run back out before anybody can catch me?
I've seen Jesus Christ Superstar. That sounds like Pontius Pilate.
Roll a dex check.
1. I jump in through the window.
Okay.
And, shatter it with my own face and fall on the ground in a pile of broken glass.
Did the other characters do anything at this point, or just let...
I'm already at the S&M club. Like, I did not stop.
Okay. So...
I'm eating my marshmallows at this point,
I'm-
and I'm just watching everything as it happens.
Alright,
Okay.
I need two preferably middle-aged men to tie me up while someone eats grapes in front of me.
So Ivan jumps through the window. Other Judas jumps through the window. What does the man in the suit say, Michael?
The man in the suit says, Hachi Machi, what's going on here?
Ay caramba!
I say,
Spicy meatball.
I say, don't have a cow, man.
Did I do that? Oh, no, you did.
Got any
Who is
cheese?
this man?
Is this guy Watto?
Oh,
I can
I
sell
gotta
you
back
some
away. I don't
meat.
know.
I
It
was
was starting to become an accent. I gotta back off.
It's
was
Watto
getting-
Pilot. Roll a perception check.
I got an 11.
Okay. Out of the corner of your eye, you see that the humanoid figure, her ropes are actually starting to loosen. Do anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and loosen them. I'm gonna
I
run
thought you
over and
I thought you said you were a shibari master. This is not the work of this is the work of an amateur.
How would you know? You're at the S&M club.
he
No, it just so happens to.
Oh,
it's like that effect where you show a man and then you show a piece of food and you think he's hungry. It's that sort of filmmaking thing.
Okay, so roll a dex check to untie this.
10.
Okay, it works. So you free her from her bonds, and she instantly raises her hands and sets the colonel on fire.
oh.
The world is a better place.
Oh shit.
Do you do anything?
As an undertaker, I'm sworn to observe and not interfere in people's deaths.
The Undertaker's take an oath.
Yeah.
So you
They
just watch
do. They
him-
do in the overpopulated dystopia of Neo Jerusalem.
The Tumocratic oath. Yep.
I rush in and I feel terrible for the colonel who's now in flames, and unsure what to do. I grab my canteen and I pour it down the colonel's throat, telling him to drink water.
While you're burning, drink water.
It's always important to
Mean-
stay hydrated.
Meanwhile, at Sanctuary, the S&N club, a waiter walks up with a red drink on a platter and says, "Here's your Bloody Mary, Dracula, sir," and then mugs at the camera.
Thank you. All right, now that I am firmly in place on this piece of bamboo, I need both of you to pour milk over my body.
And then cut back to the mill.
Okay, so
The colonel dies, and I feel sheepish.
Okay. So
Yep, sheep. Like a girl at her first prom dance. You're
goes
not
to
really
leave.
sure of yourself.
So she goes to leave. Do you guys stop her at all?
Hey, do you know where the governor is?
She looks at the heap on the floor and laughs.
Oh, was this guy the governor?
I thought he was a
Yes.
colonel.
Yes, he was.
You can be
but-
both.
All right. I kick the burning body around until the flames go out, and then I search for a key inside the charred remains.
He does have a key.
I found a key.
I'm gonna search his body to see if he had like a last will and testament or any kind of like
That survived
identifying-
the flames.
yeah, like maybe it was laminated or something.
He just carried around his last will and testament
Yeah, just in
in
case.
a laminated enclosure.
I open up my
Just-
jacket and inside it has my will sewn into the inside of the jacket.
The
He
governor's
has an
will reads thusly, like, my dearest Virginia, if you're reading this, then surely I have perished in a fire as I knew I always would.
So his hand actually is a metal will and testament.
And it has a recipe written on it that with 11 herbs and spices.
It's double-sided. On one side it's the recipe, on the other side it's his will.
Yeah, and on it
I've
says
discovered grave secrets, Virginia. These 12 spices were never meant to be wielded by a mere mortal man.
And under all that fancy, all under that beautiful wordplay, it says, "And I would like to leave my one possession, my most treasured possession, the mask that resurrects Jesus. I would like to leave it to the S&M sanctuary where it is currently held, as long as they promise not to have sex with the mask's face."
I whip out my cell phone, which is actually my hand because it's a robot hand, a robot arm, and I hold my arm to my face, and I say, "Siri, call Dracula."
Meanwhile, it's Sanctuary.
Go for Dracula.
What would be your ringtone?
The burn through the ditch, witches, and dig through the ditches.
To the back of my Dracula.
All right. So, do you answer when I call?
Yep.
What do you think all those sound effects were?
That was a ball gag getting removed, I believe.
Okay. I thought that was a dick popping out of the mouth. So I
We
Well,
will leave it.
sure.
This is an audio medium. We will leave it to the imagination of the viewers.
Dracula, is this you?
Yeah, go for Dracula.
All right. I need you to have sex with the mask.
Okay. I can't do that, Pete, because I'm already having sex with the mask.
No.
The ghost of the colonel says, I explicitly requested the opposite of this.
Camera pans
So-
out. I'm just balls deep in this mask.
So as soon as the ball goes slightly deep enough, you hear a rumbling behind you.
My single ball. It's part of God's curse.
You hear a rumbling behind you, and bursting through the wall. It is not Stan. It is not the Kool-Aid Man. It is a half dragon, half son of God.
Oh
blue
my God.
Abomination.
Oh my God. I love it so much.
And it says, "What are you doing to that mask?"
Listen,
I turned to Jude and say, "Hurry! We can't miss this. It's gonna be fucking hilarious. Dracula's gonna get some shit."
So you two run to the sanctuary?
Yeah, I run to the sanctuary. I wouldn't miss this for all the money in this post-apocalyptic world.
For 30 silver pieces, you might say.
So since it's right next door, you
bust in. I'm wearing an inflatable cow suit, covered in milk, and with a mask firmly affixed to my crotch area.
Yes, and you see this humanoid, half dragon, half Jesus, and I'm gonna need everyone here to roll initiative.
Oh, but I want to let him eat Dracula.
Oh, keep in mind, that doesn't mean you have to do anything on your turn.
You could help Mecha Jesus.
I rolled an 8.
17.
17.
Dragon Jesus, I would like to point out that in the context of the environment we find ourselves in, you are the weird one. Why aren't you having sex with a mask right now?
So because...
He's a 33-year-old virgin in an S&M club.
Because...
I don't know if
Dracula...
it ever explicitly... I don't think the Bible ever stated that Jesus was a virgin.
So Dracula is not exactly ready for combat. So you are flat footed.
Dear sir. I am very ready. This is my fighting stance.
I am going to give Pete first. Pete is the first one to go. What do you do?
First I speak to Jesse. I say, "Jesse, can you speak English? Can I understand you? Can we understand each other?"
Jesse does speak Common and Draconic, and Jesse says, they tried to bring me back, but they didn't have all the masks, and so they used a dragon skull, and now I feel weird."
All right. Well, you remember just before you got arrested, it was this asshole that betrayed you, right?
Yes, but in death I have learned to forgive people for their sins.
But you're not dead now, so you don't have to worry about forgiving him. Just eat him. Use your dragon anger and strength and eat this motherfucker.
As opposed to living Jesus, who is all about holding a grudge. Just...
Roll.
Yeah, he really learned his lesson when he died.
As those Romans drove that spear into his side, they were like, I bet you'll learn to forgive people now.
Yeah.
So Jesse leans back and screams into the sky. And now it is Dracula's turn. What do you do?
Well, I take the mask off my crotch. And I put in the folds of my inflatable cow suit and waddle over. Listen, Jesse, look deep into my eyes. Look deep into my eyes. And I want to try and seduce Dragon Jesus.
Okay, I'm gonna roll an opposed Constitution save.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
What did you get?
How's a nat 20 feel?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You can't argue with it. This is really the plot of the movie The Judas Project.
I've seen the movie, Ryan. This is how it goes.
Even though Jesus rolled an 18, he cannot compete.
That's the name of my post-punk album.
Jesus rolled an 18. Why is it that every time I play a player character, Jesus is involved in some way?
That's true.
So
You're
Jesus
just
looks.
blasphemous jerk.
Well, you're just we all know you're a Jesuit, so it's
So
only natural.
all the choices of my life had led to this moment where I get to say the half dragon, half Jesus hybrid stares into Dracula's eyes and says, "What does he say, Michael?"
He says
Come on.
he is just about to say, "I love," and then before he can even finish the words "love," Matt Damon stumbles on stage. Matt Damon.
He's in every movie now.
And knocks over the scenery. He goes, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. It was filming We Bought a Zoo just right next door, and
I just bought the strangest dream.
and I got butted by a goat, and it knocked me over here into this soundstage where you're filming the Judas Project. I'm so sorry."
The dragon looks at Matt Damon. And can Matt Damon can he roll a dexterity saving throw, Michael?
Yeah.
Well, remember, Michael, Matt Damon is a druid, so he can have his animal companion, or he can polymorph into a stronger animal, so he can get advantage on that con save.
Well, first for this dexterity, that's 15 plus his modifier is +2, so 17.
I'm gonna give him disadvantage because he stumbled through here.
Okay, fair enough.
And he is definitely prone.
Yeah, got a 15 and a 16, so
God
15.
damn it. So, Jesus leans back and screams lightning breath at Matt Damon.
As he's doing this, I gently caress his cheek with my fingers. Just yes.
Now I have to roll damage. Matt Damon takes 13 damage. How does he look?
Oh, Matt Damon is incinerated, just vanishes.
And then his son comes in and says, "Help me!"
Papa, what happened? Papa!
And then at that moment, Michael Caine follows him through. What's all
So
he
now,
said? It truly was a zoo that we bought.
And from off screen, the tape measure extends from off screen. The zoo inspector was in this BDSM club the whole time.
You can zoo inspector, yeah.
Doing zoo inspector roleplay.
Listen, you can't judge me for what I do in my spare time.
So there is basically the entire cast of We Bought a Zoo here. And Ivan, it is your turn. What do you do?
I am going to strike up a conversation with
Scarlett Johansson.
With Scarlett Johansson about where they're gonna bury that tiger.
Okay.
Oh, you're branching out into animals, Jude.
Yeah, it doesn't take that much paperwork.
Well, far less paperwork, I would imagine. And animals do not live as long as humans, so you have a higher turnover rate.
Scarlett Johansson says that in zoo culture, it's customary to give the animals a Viking funeral when they pass. So we will not be needing a tomb. Thank you.
I can do Viking funerals. I've been trying boat dealing too, and I'm getting pretty good at archery.
You load up a bunch of meerkats on a fucking Viking longboat and just set them ablaze as they roll over a waterfall.
I've been getting pretty good at archery.
So while you're having this conversation and really working out the finer details, Scarlett Johansson seems very interested. Jesus turns to Dracula and says, "Please, I need the mask. It's the only way to fix me."
I want to roll an insight check to see if he's lying.
What do you get?
Jesus can't lie.
But dragons can.
Dragons notorious
only
liars.
lie.
I got a 16.
He does not seem to be lying.
I hand it over and say, I hope this means we're square now.
Well, he's got like small dragon arms. He can't take it.
Dragons don't have small arms.
This one does.
This one does.
I put the mask on him myself then.
Where do you put it on?
His butt.
On his butt?
Why did I say that? But
Well,
yes.
Well, you already said it, so you can't take it back.
Yep. Yes, and.
God, you're
yes,
dumb.
and.
So the tail goes right through the mask's mouth, and it swings around and perfectly cups his special area. And he turns back into Jesus.
His hidden temple. Yep.
His hidden temple.
I run up and I hug my friend Jesse. Jesse, you're back! Ah! This day doesn't suck completely now.
You saved me. How can I ever repay you?
Kill him! And I point to Dracula.
So Jesse walks over to Dracula. It's a very tense moment where nobody knows what he's gonna do. And he thinks back, and he remembers that nat 20, and he leans in for a kiss.
Yes! Yep, Jesus and I are just furiously making out right now.
Then the screen does that like
the heart, like the heart wipe.
It all goes to black except for a heart around the kiss.
And
And it says in like a cool green matrix font, "The end?" ?
I find the nearest crafts table and flip it over. Yeah. I'll have you know I'm an atheist now!
So Pete, you denounce your faith?
Yes.
For the 4th time.
And what happened? What is your epilogue, Ivan?
Yeah, what's the Animal House like caption?
I got a job at the zoo specifically. I actually bought the zoo. Now that Matt Damon's dead, I bought the zoo. It's a good thing.
So you bought the zoo in exchange for Matt Damon's funeral?
I did that one for free. I adopted little Rosie. And I actually adopted both the son and the other girl who's the romantic interest, and I made them step siblings or whatever, or adopted siblings, and it made it really awkward for them.
And that is the prequel to Clueless.
And now you know the rest of the story.
So now, while these credits are rolling, all of your real identities and your podcasts are part of the credits. So, first, it says, Hayden, where can people find you? These are very specific credits where they tell you, like, your address and stuff.
You can find me in a hole in the ground where I live. You can find me with the rest of these chuckle fucks on They See Me Rollin', a comedy ? D&D podcast. And you can also find me on That Gay Shit, where me and my fellow queers view media through a queer lens and form our own headcanons. Did you know that 10 Things I Hate About You is actually about 2 bisexuals falling in love? Did you know that Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid is actually gay? These are the kind of things everyone knew that. That's the kind of revelations we have on That Gay Shit.
What about you, Ivan?
You can find me on They See Me Rolling, and also on my podcast, which hasn't released an episode in a long time, but it will soonish, maybe, because we're all depressed and very busy.
Are we plugging podcasts that are effectively dead? I like to plug my Discworld podcast, Ankh-Mor Pork Public Radio, which hasn't had an episode in 2 years.
It's not dead. It just hasn't released an episode in.
Oh
like,
I really love
months.
that ongoing show Firefly.
Yeah.
Ivan is currently trying to track down the final mask to revive the color of friendship.
Yes. But listen to it. It's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah. And Stan, do you have anything special to plug?
You can find me on the They See Me Rollin', a comedy exclamation point D&D podcast.
Thank everyone for listening to our podcast. We'll get it right next year. : An Adventure in Blasphemy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to the crew of They See Me Rolling for joining us. Please check out their podcast. It is
for having
wonderful. Stan is the best DM in the world. Truly, truly fantastic stuff.
Here's your 20. Thanks.
And as you can tell, everybody has a pretty good rapport. So, check it out.
Yes.
It's better than what we
you can
just
judge
did.
for yourself.
Yes.
So remember, if at first we don't succeed,
We'll get it right next
Fortnite.
year.
Can we real quick talk about the lessons we learned from this, or any takeaways we have?
Oh, we're all going to
But,
hell.
yeah. The most important takeaway from this I have is that it was very good luck that you guys happened to not watch the Judas Project during the year, because it has a lot of spoilers for We Bought a Zoo for some reason.
I learned that when someone is on fire, you put the water on them and not in them.
Yes. I learned that it was never about ethics and cribbage journalism.
I learned that Foster's is a terrible beer.
The real treasure are the Jesuses you get to fuck along the way.
And nowhere else, unless Stan Helen, my track-by-track Van Halen podcast with Helen Herbst Star, actually gets off the ground.
I was a part. I witnessed the formation of this, and I do not support it.
If we're plugging fake podcasts that might exist, I have become... Megan Griffin and I have become dangerously close to starting an Animorphs podcast several times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Hayden and I once talked about doing a page-by-page Les Miserables podcast that was released
God.
once a month.
Oh, shit.
We will surely die before it's finished.
Yeah,
I'm assuming this is the unabridged version, right?
I would like to plug my.
You gotta get all the.
I would.
good
Oh,
parts.
I would also like to plug my my disaster of a podcast that Michael actually appeared on one episode of, Excalibur,
that was a good podcast concept.
where Josh Park and I pretend to be the social media managers of a body spray company.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was.
I
good.
wanted to. Josh left me hanging. He just disappeared.
He does
Yeah,
that.
he's a busy bee.
Whatever. He's
movie.
Yep.
he's at college or whatever, getting an education. Sure.